Just really proud of our team. Obviously, to play on the road in the SEC is is never easy, and kind of felt like it was a must win for us. Um, Based on our last home game, and just proud of how we battled. Thought we got some great minutes from some guys that we needed them to step up tonight. Jalen Harris was phenomenal. His three was a huge shot in the game, and I thought Reggie Shaney did a great job. Battling on the backboards in the second half when we didn't rebound the ball in that first half like we really needed to.
Coach, how different is Alabama's defense without Herbert Jones?
I'm probably not the guy to answer that because we didn't face him with him. Um, I think on film, there's a lot of times that you can watch a guy and think a guy's smaller than he is or bigger than he is. So I mean, we didn't play against him with him, but I certainly think that he's a guy that creates mismatch problems because he can guard 1 through 5. He's really athletic. So I'm sure that defensively, he's a big part of their schemes. He can switch on to people because of his lateral quickness. I think he's one of the best glue guys in the SEC.
Hey, Mus, a couple things. Can you talk about Mason Jones's game, and what did you do defensively with their three-point shooting being as prolific as it's been?
Yeah, we didn't want them to have a huge three-point shooting night, but we actually didn't put as much emphasis on the three ball as we do some other games. I think we've had some better nights defending the three than we did tonight. Obviously, coming into the game, we were number one in the nation defending the three ball. But we were also worried about their dribble drive and penetration and especially early in the game. I mean, the way we started the game off was abysmal. But we regrouped. Had a couple timeouts early that we normally wouldn't call, but we needed to just based on our lack of following the defensive game plan early in the game. Mason was phenomenal. I mean, he's like a baseball player that can play a bunch of different positions. I mean, he's setting screens for us in pick and roll. Then he ends up handling for us in pick and rolls. Then we put him in isolation situations. Then we bring him off double screens on the weak side. He's got great court vision. I mean, he truly is, when you think about, point forwards and how Don Nelson used to use guys, both with Milwaukee when he had guys like Paul Pressey and even when he coached the Warriors and what he did with Chris Mullen as a point forward is really how we're using Mason. I guess I've outdated. I know you guys know how old I am, but that's kind of how he is for us, is that point forward who kind of does a whole bunch of different things for us.
Coach, I wanted to ask you, what was the defensive game plan? Because you guys did a really good job in limiting Kyra Lewis. He struggled from the field, and then John Petty with only 8.
Yeah, I mean, we felt like the last couple days of preparation that those were the two guys we had to focus on, and we certainly gave something up. I mean, Jaden, Shackelford had a phenomenal game. I'm sure that was probably his career high, but we just were not going to let those two guys, meaning Kyra and JP, we were not going to let those two guys hurt us. That was something that we came into the game and said those two guys are not beating us, and if somebody else beats us, we'll live with it.
Yeah, how did you rebound from 12 to nothing? The crowd's going nuts. And also, I got one more after that.
I thought, obviously it was a good crowd, enthusiastic, but I think playing at Indiana and winning there, and I told the guys in one of the timeouts, like, hey, we're fine. Like, we got to get 2 or 3 stops and eventually I said they're not going to shut us out. And then I said a few other things that I won't repeat, but I thought we just weathered the storm. I mean, I think we're a team that's confident, even though we haven't played great basketball the last week or week and a half or whatever. But I still think like we walked into the building thinking we were going to win tonight.
Yeah, a couple things. How's Isaiah? Was his knee bothering him some? Jimmy Witt's isolation plays late in the game, how big those were, and free throws.
Yeah, I mean, the free throws we got to continue to work on. I thought we did a pretty good job of getting fouled, of getting to the foul line with 29 FTAs. Having said that, we we got to convert a little bit more. I mean, Mason's been such a great free throw shooter, and him making 6 of 13 is a little bit uncharacteristic because we rely on him to make free throws. We just kind of, as far as Isaiah, certainly with the knee, we don't want to overwork him. I played him so many minutes since he hurt his knee against Ole Miss, and we just, kind of came into the game plan. Didn't want to put too much pressure on him, and then J5, did such a great job defensively that we just kind of rolled that way to finish the game. So good, yeah. I mean, we ran a set that we really haven't run much since I've been at Arkansas, but it was a pick and roll with Jimmy Witt setting it and Mason handling it, and then they were switching, and so we baited the switch, and Jimmy kind of caught it in that 17-foot range, and then we turned it into an ISO. And he's got such a great pull-up game that, that was a set that worked well for us, I would say, about the 6.5-minute mark on.
Coach, can you just talk about how wide open the SEC has been and just college basketball as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly college basketball as a whole, when you look at the top 25 from week to week, it changes every night. You look at who's ranked number 1 through 5, it changes all the time. I think there's great parity in the college basketball right now. And, I think there's, it's so hard to win in the SEC, any game. It's really hard to win on the road, certainly. There's so many great coaches in the league. There's a lot of star players. There's a lot of great athletes. There's some teams in this league that rebound at an incredible rate no matter who they play. But certainly the SEC, in my mind, you just got to take it one game at a time. At least that's what we got to do in Arkansas. Thank you.
Mason Jones is the first Razorback to have 30 in back-to-back games since Janelle Pardo